Welcome, friends. Let's put this up. You can see what I've been doing. My cat's currently walking across my... Get over here. He's currently walking across my computer and my iPad, making my life a living hell. But we're starting off this live stream exciting. This is Cacciatore. He will always be walking across my stuff right as I start streaming. So he's a good boy. He's just inconvenient. Isn't that right, bud? So I'm going to put him down and talk about what I was doing last week. So last week, I'm going to try and get this, take up the whole screen there. So, hello, my friends. What I have going on here is, of course, I'm drawing a comic book, and I am now on page 38 of 52. So we're getting close, man, like 2.5 more rows of comic, and then I'll be done, which is extremely exciting. And I'm trying to get, basically what I'm using my live platform here for is to get pages done and keep a consistent schedule so I can get this. I'm hoping by March to get this up and running on Kickstarter. But even though I'll have 52 pages inked by then, will I have them in color is the problem. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm kind of figuring out a color palette as it is. I would like to work with cool colors. Like this is the blank cover for the whole thing. I've even changed his wing size and style around as I go here. So that's a little bit different from what I've had going on there traditionally. This is the actual layout. Because originally I had him with 4 wings, and now I only have him with 2. Because that's way easier to draw, honestly. And it gave me all my vibes for drawing Archangel from back in the day. But so he only has 2 wings instead of 4. But this is what the cover and then what the interior credits page will be looking like once it's published. So I kind of want to keep this color scheme, but it doesn't quite fit every page of the book. You can also see I have a ghost in there. And I'm trying to... I've been hiding ghosts in this book, so those will be my my Easter eggs. Is if you can find all my ghosts in a book. So again, page 1 coming all the way through page 38. And last time we were doing this, I was working on page 36. Last week I had a I had a medical procedure I had to go through. And while I'm fine, and, test results came out good. Everything is A+ positive. That I don't have anything bad going on. So I'm extremely excited about that. However, I missed a whole week when I wasn't really planning on doing that. I got out of this procedure and I was basically I was high. I was I could draw. And I was I don't want to embarrass myself on stream by acting a looped out pothead with drawing comics. I think there's plenty of those guys out there, honestly. So I'm going to keep that from being a thing. So let's take a look and see what page 36 came out. Then I'm going to walk through page 37. Might be a little lighter of a stream tonight as far as live drawing goes, simply because I'm still trying to get my health in order, and I'm still a little tired. I'll be honest with you. So let's take a look at some results. I'm gonna start with page 35, and so that one came out looking pretty good. I've got some nice shadows coming on through there. 5 panels. What is it for? It's 4 panels. 4 quick panels. Easy to go. I put a little up on the top right there, a little Mike Mignola-esque lightning bolt to give it a little more design, basically. It was an empty panel, and I was you know what, I can put some more design in here. I can jazz it up a little bit. So I did that. Really happy with that middle panel and how she came out. She looks her face is a little offset, and so she looks extra crazy. So I kind of like how that came out. It's not proportional. Who cares? Page 36 really came out well. I put a time-lapse of it up on TikTok. But what I'm really proud of is this, the progression of the top 2 panels how it gives it some space to breathe, and then this middle panel coming in um, really just pops for me. Like it didn't actually take as long as you would think to put all that texture down by pen, but that is all handmade texture by a dry ink brush. And same with all the stippling. The only thing that's not like it's that it's its own brush or the halftone. So I usually did that for a little texture there on the planet. I might leave it in. I might take it off. Right now I'm liking it, but it doesn't repeat anywhere else on the page, as you can see. Like, we've got our three characters who are looking at each other and kind of like progressing the page from left to right. So we've got like information, reaction, and then a hey, chill out moment kind of thing going on. Whereas up at the very top, we have information, more information, and then reaction, and then major reveal. So the major reveal is a much larger panel than what you would see as like one of these small ones. So if I put this much information in a small panel, it really wouldn't work well. But this is a major plot point of the comic, and I really wanted it to be something that had a lot of gravitas, a lot of impact, if you will, coming in through there. So that's that. I'm going to see if I can zero in on my chat and kind of get this going. I'm trying to use like 14 different things to keep an eye on the chat. And there's Allison Troy. Greetings, friend. Glad to have you back, as always. So, here we go. Let's get to this next page and kind of walk and talk about this next page. Page 37. Really, again, this is another page that I'm happy how it really came out. Excuse me. Mostly because there's a lot of black to it, and a lot of black that is making its way throughout the comic, along with some texture. And I got some Kirby crackle in there. So if you don't know what that is, Jack Kirby was infamous for making all these little dots that would make up negative space in his comics. And it was like Kirby energy. He would use Q-tips to make those little dots. And like here we are, like 50, 60, 70 years later, trying to recreate that with digital media. And I was like, I drew out every one of these circles individually. You have to pardon me, I'm like really thirsty tonight, so I'll probably be drinking a lot of water. It's not vodka, I swear. But I like on this panel, like really how like I was able to go from like a nice bright light source to like dark shadows, and then keep those dark shadows up. Kind of have like the Batman-esque silhouette there, and then the surprise reveal, and then like going back into the portal. And how strong those light sources were. Those were really fun to work with and fun to like get the right texture with. And then finally, like we've got another reveal down at the bottom. I feel like I need to play with the heaviness of my little old lady, her lines, to make her stand out a little bit. Or I might do some drop shadow work in the background to make him like faded out. Do some like clipping masks, that kind of cool stuff that gives a little bit more weight and dimension. But this is basically her telling him like it's supposed to go down like these 5 panels up top. However, something went wrong with your brain, and that's why you're stuck here. So that's like kind of like the mystery being revealed and resolved, part of it at least, I should say. I won't like spoil all of it because I kind of want you guys to read this. And so, what the hell, page 38? Page 38 is all dealing with that fallout. And I'm kind of like an old school like comic artist in the fact that I still use excuse me, jeez. I still use blue line to do my pencil work with. Blue line, like I said in other videos, was traditionally to make it to where it wouldn't like reproduce on a copier. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Do I want to start inking this page? Do I want to start drawing this page? Because like I said, I'm not feeling all that great today. But I wanted to get a stream up and running so you can kind of see where the progress was at and what I'm doing with this book right now. So I'm gonna make sure I have the right pencils. I was working in HB, and usually I work in an HB, which is a perfect line between hard and soft pencil, and they've recreated it amazingly. This gives me my thin, like, searching guiding lines. 6B pencil I'll use for like my finishing lines. And it's like, speaking of which, I'm going to, what I'm going to do now is move this out a little bit because he should have broader shoulders. So I'm going to move this out a little bit like that. There we go. I think that's a little bit better for like his form. Because he does have his back. He does have his the physique of a retired professional wrestler. So, you know, he's still thick. And I don't want that to be consistent when I'm drawing him. Is that he's got his thickness. Hi, buddy. It gets increasingly tough to draw when there's a little visitor right here the whole time. But we're going to do what we can with him. So, pause off the keyboard, pal. There we go. So I made, like, that's the one thing when I came back to looking at this, I was like, man, some of these shoulders are sloped over, and I wanted to make sure that they are, you know, proportionate and not a big fiasco. I've already planned out my perspective as well in this shot. Like in the last shot that I did like this, what really came out that I liked doing it, let me see if I have it in one of these. Which ones I've done it on this page? There was one. Okay, I think it was this one here. Yeah, where like I got the eraser to give it some background, to give it a little bit of like atmospheric perspective. And I want to do the same with this one, with these trees back there. And start like kind of played around with his leg there. I'm still using my HB pencil. Like, if I'm going to start working with those backgrounds, that's when I'll start working with the 6B. Like you can see, like her face here. I could still work with HB and still work with solid, and I'm working with a different shade of blue. It's not really going to matter. But you can see there. And I think I might chunkify his thighs a little bit more. Just because, like I said, I want him to be... You know, he's in the story is the friend who's like looking out for his boy, and also like going on all these crazy adventures to see like if there's any other creatures like him. And so he's using, we'll say, an alternate form to get that look up and running. So I want to do a wrestler physique. And make sure he's not too, like his arm like right here is really wimpy. So I'll give it a little bit more So he's starting to look a little more substantial, right? And he doesn't really have a paunch, like a gut, but it's a little bit of one. Like, he's still the wrestling that I'm thinking of when it is like mid-70s wrestlers, and 60s and 70s wrestlers who, yes, they had like bigger bodies than most men, but they weren't like, your 1980s Hulk Hogan kind of wrestler. Didn't want any of that vibe with my with Munoz here. And you'll see, like, as I'm like drawing these, like I should be using my 6B to do this, really, because it allows me to smooth out the lines and make things a lot smoother. So for instance, I'll use 6B like right here. Whoops. Undo that. My cat's laying on my iPad, so it's a little tough. But you see there, I can get a nice straight line and make it nice and smooth. And I want it to be a thicker line for this, and the same with this right over here. I want these lines to all be thick, and the lines back over here to be a little bit lighter. So I'll start using 6B, but with these trees, they're all going to be, I'm going to use them in silhouette. Which just means they're going to be all in black, no details. And I'll probably draw them on a, or ink them on a separate layer, so it's easier to kind of play around with. And that's what I love about drawing digitally, is like, oh, I can draw this here and put it on a different layer and then play around with like its visibility. I'm kind of making them a little abstract in the background there. Might make some skinny ones, might make some tall ones. Who's to say, right? I feel like my color just changed. That's weird. It did. Must be because my little guy's right here, putting his paws on the iPad and selecting different colors, as it were. And so that's why I use like thicker lines here and thicker lines there. Oops. Opacity went all the way down. Let's try a different blue. There we go. I gotta figure out some way around here to like make sure like his hand doesn't disappear into the background, which is gonna be easier than what it looks, honestly, because I'll be doing this, and this is where the tough part comes out, is it's like I don't want any tangents coming out of his head. It's a little tough to mind the gap. But you see now, like, this panel is starting like really to come together. Like, I jump around on the bigger panels, honestly. But like, since the light is coming from this way here, I'm gonna put like more emphasis on these arms over here and these lines, while these lines over here will be a lot thinner. I can almost put his arm in silhouette. I think I will put his arm in silhouette. And this leg as well too. We'll get those big strong lines going as far as it goes. I'm going to move my camera because I think it's a little off-center here. Let's see. Because I don't want my face chopped off, but also I've got a little cat right here, right in the middle. There we go. That's better. Alright. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, share, all those good things I have to say like during a YouTube video. It would be most appreciative. Want to get more people's eyes on the comic making process. The comic making process with cats! That's right, it's you. Tori is a Bombay cat, as far as we know. He's about 3 years old. And he's a good boy. And so at some point, sometimes, using this brush is great for filling in blacks. But it gets a little tough for the details, and I'm realizing I'm drawing with such a huge honking brush. But like I said, it's good for blocking out my blacks. I'm blocking out shapes. I'm the kind of person that mostly lets their black brush do all the talking. But with this, I've been really starting to love like working with pencil and trying to get like my pencil lines to start talking first. You can kind of see like how this is starting to fill out. I'm gonna put some shadow where she's supposed to be. Right over there. I think my guy is right in the middle of the camera here. So this is an awkward live stream. He's just standing up right here and being a good boy. You get a nice little extra of cat-tastitry. Silly goose. But I've really been liking blocking out my blacks like this a lot more in pencil and working a lot more in pencil. I've been watching what some other creators are doing as far as like blacking out their blacks and doing this whole digital process, and it's really cool. Just seeing what everyone else is kind of doing. I might have to take a pause because I'm almost out of water. But I'll tell you what, like the more I put more black in through pencil, the more satisfying it is to ink it. And it also makes for, I don't know, there's something about penciling that's just relaxing. It really is just like, it's the part where I can be the loosest and the freest with my drawing. The ink is where like I get where it all comes not so much to life, but so much it comes out in in its own way, I guess is the best way to put it. A lot of people, there's the old jokes about it just being tracing, but you're making so much more with inking. And I haven't heard any of those tracing jokes in a long ass time, so maybe that's a good thing here. But I've been really like playing around with not only just using thick black lines to separate out my figures from my backgrounds, but also like to really kind of like play around with shade and shadow. And you can just tell like there's no doubt in this panel where that light source is coming from. My arrow's there pointing at it, but there's not going to be any doubt as far as that goes of where I want my lights and my shadows to go. And that's where I've really been starting to like play around. Like, this book's going to look like I've been working on this book for 2 years now. Writing it and drawing it and trying to figure out what I wanted to say about isolation and about like what that means as an artist, what it means as a human being, and put all those thoughts into something that's, an outside observer of humanity. And hopefully it comes out all right. I mean, I've got a pretty good confidence in this book and its subject matter, and that people will dig it. But it's just one of those things where it's like, it's a very vulnerable comic. And it's one of those things I've done a lot with mini comics, but never with a long form story. So that's really kind of like what I'm putting out here with Cryp-Ted, is that like, it started out as this joke of like, wouldn't the Mothman be lonely? Because like he's the only like Mothman. And then it started like getting to this point where it's like, the Mothman might be lonely, sure, but also like, is a Mothman resentful of being called Mothman? He's like, they have no genders as in this moth world that I'm making up, and so they're a little offended by that, and they're a little like, there's definitely like a person out of time feel to it, but also a person out of luck and just wondering when their time will come to find someone that gives them that kind of intimate partnership that no friend can ever bring you. It's nice to have friends. It's great to have friends. But it's also like, yo, when's my time coming here? Because this kind of sucks, and I was not expecting it to suck like this, is where they're at. And like, that's how I felt during lockdowns and during other times in my life. And so it's a deeply personal story told through the lens of Mothman. Because I can do it with Mothman and I don't have to worry about any stupid copyrights out there. Cool. Glad you liked it, Allison. I'm gonna keep going for a little bit more. I'm like kind of getting into my groove here now. And so I kind of want to just finish out the pencils on these 2 pages and call it at night. Because I got some other stuff I want to work on. And I'll show you, but I'm going to show you a preview of my next fan stream, as well as what I'm going to do, because I'm going to do fan art on Fridays, starting pretty soon. And I want to do that like around like a little late night fan art stream, showing off like what I'm drawing and wrestling and X-Men and that kind of stuff. So, but let's start carving out this head. And this is why I like using an HB pencil more. Simply because that pencil It's just a lot easier to sketch with. It's a lot easier to find like my searching lines. Gotta get that mullet going, but look how to work on that neck. I'm gonna like erase a bunch of this. And one thing I'm noticing immediately is that that head is way too big. Give it like a little, let's give her a little trim down. Yes, that's a little bit better. I'm gonna make it just a tad bigger. So I don't want it to be like pinheaded, but I don't want it to be like super huge. And there I think it's got a nice, much better weight to it. The head looks a lot better as we're going here. I can put those eyebrows in a little bit different and put those eyes there. I want to make sure he's looking at his friend. Little sideburns. There he goes. Darken up those lines over here. So it's easier to sketch with this, it's harder to fill in lines, but then there's just times I'm stubbornly like, I'm not going to bother with it. I keep filling things in darker with the same pencil because I'm lazy. I'm too lazy to literally do this. It's just weird because like sometimes you just get in a groove with something and you're just like, screw it, let's go. We have our scene carved out. I think what I'll do is do like this. Yeah, this panel is coming together. It's awesome. I might just keep going, honestly. Gotta hydrate. I'll get some more water in the middle of a stream. I'll be back in a second. Take a look at all my toys. Oh, and my cat took my seat. Oh! Nice toys. Thanks. And my little guy, right in my way. He's a good boy. This is usually his seat, so I'm absconding with it. Whew. finish up inking or penciling this panel, and then I'll start showing off like what I'm going to do with some fan art stuff coming up. And like, honestly, I'm going to figure out most of this with my brush at this point. I really just wanted to get some things like his fingers figured out. And I kind of just do gestures for fingers, and let the ink brush figure it all out. There we go. Cool. I gotta figure out the rest of these panels, like what I've got going on. Let's do this. This is the layout for this page. And so you can kind of see like how I lay out a page. This is not pulling down there. I don't know where the hell it went. There it is. There we go. So you can see like I have like one overhead panel portioned out for the left hand side. The other two are kind of like, he's taking the information in, he's getting consoled. We're still talking about it. Like, this is a very like conversation heavy panel page. So I'm kind of just deciding, like, you can see how much that next to last panel changed from inception to implementation. I turned it from for one person perspective, first like going straight on to like looking at it, like tilting my camera just a little bit to make it a little bit more of an exciting panel. And that's really where it comes down to, is like, this should look like it has, like, even though it's a little bit of a, I won't say boring, but a like expositionary, like just kind of like it's not too much action going on there. So I really wanted to like pump up the action, pump up the volume with some different camera angles, something that would be a little more exciting than just like a talking heads page, as we call it. So there's that. So I'm working on that. I'll probably be inking this this weekend and get to a new page. But what I have to do, one thing that should be known, is that this page I'm doing right now is the last one I've laid out. So I got to lay out some more pages. I'm probably going to be working on that this week and try to lay out the end of this book. I want to do at least the next like 3 or 4 pages and get those laid out. I know where it's going to end. And I know that, like, while my pencil's jumping and the beat is thumping, I know where this is going to end, and I'm pretty sure I can get it into 52 pages, but I might not. Might have to go up to 56. Maybe it'll go down to, like, 48. Who knows? But I'm confident where it's ending, and that's a good thing. So, coming up, I'm going to be doing some fan art Fridays. So every Friday night, I'm going to pick a piece of fan art. I've been doing a pro wrestling illustrated book over the last year or so. And I've been doing these as like little reels on Instagram, but I want to do them live as I'm drawing them. You can see, like, I'm working on an Adam Cole right now. I'm also going to I'm thinking of doing a Swerve Strickland this next Friday night. I'm not sure. The Royal Rumble was a big inspiration, but also I'm like splitting my time up on the fan art game to some Ninja Turtles work, so I get a Muckman. I just finished Pizza Face here and gussied him up with some grossness. Working on a little metalhead. He's hard to draw. Like, this is a pain in the ass. And also, I kind of want to get into working on some X-Men. So I've got like some fan art ideas. I also have this is my next gallery piece for Gallery 1988. So I'll put that up as a reel here soon, or a short. So there's that. I've got some more Gallery 1988 pieces, and then there's just a whole crap ton of stuff to go through. My webcomic, I need to letter these. So I've got plenty of stuff that I can work on for these streams. So when Cryp-Ted ends, don't worry, I'll keep going. So yeah, that's my stream for the night. I'm gonna end it here. 45 minutes in. I feel like it's pretty good. It's all my Procreate work that you can see there. I gotta organize it because I can keep like Cryp-Ted's all the way down at the bottom, and I'm like, where the hell did I put it? So I gotta organize some stuff here. So that's it. I'm gonna switch back over to this side of the stream, and I'm going to stop streaming. So thank you again for joining me. You can see my whole desktop, infinitum. Let's switch over. We'll go back to Procreate. So join me here Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, thank you, Allison, for being here with me on my stream. Thank you, everyone else who's been watching these streams. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you can share it with your friends that are artists or love just watching art process and want to know how you make a comic book. That's what the stream is all about. All right. Peace.